Hi everyone, Lisette here. Today I want to talk about transparency and why it's so important for the remote and hybrid workplace. Now, this concept has been around for a very long time. And in fact, when I was first learning how to incorporate transparency into remote work systems, I turned to the book Working Out Loud about 15 years ago by John Stepper. And he wrote this book because he was the only person at his department where he worked that had his particular job function. So when the department started doing layoffs, he was in danger of losing his job because nobody knew what he was doing. So he created and wrote the book Working Out Loud, and I took the concept and applied it to the remote world. How can we work out loud and make our work more visible to each other? I really like this quote from Ryan Chartrand from X Team. He says, people respect you more when they know how you contribute, and they start to question your value when they don't know how you contribute. So, in the remote world, because we can't necessarily see what other people are doing, we want to make our work more visible so that people don't question our value on the team. Some people are creating transparency with tools. In fact, there are virtual offices available and have been for decades now. This one is an old one called Sococo, but there are many different virtual offices available, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's an office that you go to online. And here you're seeing that these boxes are individual rooms, and here these icons are people in those rooms. And you can only see and hear the people that are in the same room as you. But if you want to go to another room, you just double click on that room and then you're in that other room. So this sort of simulates the office online and allows a little bit for more spontaneity and virtually overhearing things with each other. Now, there are other ways of being transparent, which is creating visual management systems, putting our to-do list and our workflows online in some sort of a tool. I highlight iObea here because not because I'm promoting the tool, but because it's one of the tools that allows you to dive very deeply into one team's board or see a bird's eye view perspective all from within the same tool. But there are lots of tools out there, Trello, Asana, I mean, hundreds and hundreds of project management tools. But the idea is to visualize our work so that everybody knows what we're doing. There are also ways of visualizing our organizational design. Jürgen Appelo from Management 3.0 came up with the Unfix system, which is a system that allows you to visualize how your organization functions. Now, it might look complicated to the untrained eye, but once everybody understands what the colors and the positions mean, this gives a nice visual representation that everybody can understand. Now, one of the ways that affects working out loud is sometimes we can work too loud. And so we really want to be able to create a balance for how we're working. Now, part of the reason that transparency is so important is because it can help minimize all the messages that are flying back and forth, right? When we know what people are doing, that we don't necessarily have to email or have status meetings to really update each other. When we're working out loud, we can simply see what people are doing. Now, GitLab and Catalog did a survey a couple of years ago that said, on average, the number of work applications sending us notifications at any given time is around 6 or 7, depending on where you are in the world, and that most of us reply to these notifications outside of our working hours. And most of us are finding it difficult to switch off because we're preoccupied with what we have to do or we're getting notifications. And in fact, many of us are signaling to our colleagues that we're online and working by sending emails and messages back and forth, right? That messaging forms a sort of virtual presence or a virtual office, really, if you will. Now, the problem with that is that most of us are knowledge workers and we need time for deep, focused, concentrated work. And this constant checking of inboxes and messages doesn't give us the type of deep focus that we need. On top of that, the constant context switching is exhausting us, right? We're going from our messages to our work, from our messages to our work. And if you're feeling toasted at the end of the day, this is probably one of the reasons why. Now, Cal Newport, in his book, A World Without Email, calls this phenomenon the hyperactive hive mind. And it's a way of collaborating that's basically made possible by emails and messages. So he says instead of trying to keep up, which is impossible anyways, we need to change how we work by visualizing our workflows and making them more transparent with each other. And in fact, this opinion was backed up when I interviewed astronaut Paul Richards about remote collaboration from space. And he said that astronauts train to have the right information at the right place at the right time. So they've got team agreements, they work out loud, they have visual workflows that shows what everybody's doing at any given point in time. So the way that remote teams are basically doing this kind of work is by moving the people to the work and visualizing how we work together. This is just sort of your stereotypical Kanban. And what they say here is we want to share collective responsibility until the work is done, right? Collectively, we visualize it. The leader doesn't visualize it for the team visualizes it for each other. And then one last example of how I saw somebody doing this. This is a type of team agreement that a Scrum team is using. And basically, they just use a virtual whiteboard, Miro, in order to visualize how they're working together. And they review this every week during their status meetings. So I just wanted to talk and end here and just highlight a little bit about transparency and why it's so important with remote work, and to give you a few examples of how other people are doing it. So if you're interested in learning more or diving deeper, I really encourage you to join one of our live interactive trainings. You can find those in all time zones all over the world. We've got licensed facilitators who are there who professionally train these workshops. You could also join one of our free events. We host virtual co-working often, and we're also hosting the Facilitators Playground, where you can come and learn new techniques for online facilitation. All right, everybody, I'll see you online.